Hello and welcome to this session of yet another webinar around RPA. Today's webinar, as you know, is mainly about banking and finance and about ask, scaling up the RPA program or pacing up the overall RPA implementation within any enterprise organization. We are focused just a little bit more towards banking and finance, but in general, this webinar can also be helpful for companies looking up to pace up or scale up their RPA programs. I am Asif Hussain, your um, host and presenter today. Um, so I have some years of experience in the industry. Uh, Mainly in past 5 years, I am more focused towards RPA and automation in general. Uh, So we are presenting from Royal Cyber, and Royal Cyber is working for over 18 years now in different domains, different technologies. Have won quite a lot of awards and have presence in many countries. So moving up towards today's agenda, we will first see challenges and challenges that the banking and finance industry is facing these days and the objectives. What could be the reason for automation for us in this industry? And we'll also see how um, different stages an automation program can have in an enterprise organization, what the journey looks like, and how we can scale up. There can be different approaches to scale up an RPA program and pace up the automation and digitization. We'll see one such case study also, and then a couple of offers for the attendees of this webinar. And in the end, we'll also take questions to answer. So there are two ways for you guys to put in your questions. One is to type in the questions section, as you can see in the GoToWebinar interface that you're having, and the other is to raise your hand through the GoToWebinar raise hand option. And in the end of the session, we can open your microphone to let you speak or let you ask your questions verbally. So whichever you feel is more convenient for you, you can use the option to ask questions. So coming up towards the challenges banking and finance sector has today. So banking industry is largely dependent on manual processes. Uh, Such a large number of manual processes slow down the process, the overall flow of information, and increases the execution time and inefficiencies. Being the most impactful industry for any economy, banking is strictly regulated and has to be compliant to many rules, failing which can lead to huge issues. Banking system has worked on paper-based manual processes for very long time, which has held back its growth. Huge customer information is collected on paper and paper forms, which need to be entered in systems, increasing piles of manual work. The adoption of technology in banking and financial institutions in the early days has now left them with legacy systems. So these systems are islands. It is hard for them to integrate with other systems. So uh, RPA can integrate systems irrespective of their compatibility, enabling information accessible between any type of systems. So these are few challenges, and we have answer to the problems that they create. There are several stages of an RPA program. So, journey begins with the standard use cases. Uh, you look for quick wins. The key drivers at this stage are generally like operational efficiency and cost reduction. Then organization picks value added cases. So you start looking beyond operational efficiency and cost savings, and you look for goals like uh, operational agility, reduce time and errors, improving customer experience, including partner or employee satisfaction, reduce turnaround time and making the process more streamlined, and ensuring regulatory compliance. So these are the benefits we start looking for in the next phase, that is uh, that is the value added use cases stage. And then we move towards intelligent use cases, where AI/ML based use case scenarios, which are able to take decisions, which are able to have predictive analysis, are also part of the RPA program to leverage from. So value added use cases that extend beyond cost savings and can deliver previously unrecognized benefits. And then we move towards the processes that need intelligent automation, machine learning, natural language processing, and OCR, along with virtual assistants. So these are some of the uh, use cases that we can identify of for each of these stages. So in the standard use cases, we have credit approvals, credit management, new business and renewal data entry, know your customer assessments. So all sort of simple use cases. And then come a time when we can start focusing on value added use cases that are account closure prevention and queue identification, call center customer ID verification. And then like this can also help call center agents to get the right information to keep their calls shorter and be able to satisfy customers easily. So there are all sort of scenarios that we can see here that can be considered as value added use cases. And then there are intelligent use cases where um, scenarios like email triage and digitization of structured paper forms and third party approval integrations, things where AI/ML is important. So these are the three stages that we can look for, and depending upon your journey, you can see where your organization is currently and where it can go further. So enterprises today are moving towards hyper automation. That's the last stage where intelligent automation is there. And as the term is defined by Gartner, the hyper automation deals with the application of advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence and machine learning, to increasingly automate processes and augment humans. Hyperautomation extends across a range of tools that can be automated, but also refers to the sophistication of automation, that is like discover, analyze, and design, automate, or measure, or monitor uh, bots through bots. In simple terms, hyperautomation refers to the mixture of automation technologies that exist to augment and expand human capabilities. When we think of automation terms like robotic process automation, um, hyperautomation takes an ecosystem of technological advanced tools and combines them to create a new way to work. It means that low value tasks are optimally performed with automation tools, machine learning, and advanced artificial intelligence, so that outputs can be produced automatically and run efficiently with little to no human intervention. Then, together with human uh, interaction, hyperautomation can create a workplace that is always informed, agile, and able to use data and insights for quick and accurate decision making. Automation will reach its full potential at the end of a consistent process. We like to think of it as a journey, one in which a workforce is deployed by the organization to help achieve its long range corporate goals. Usually, it begins with simple, process driven, highly repetitive manual processes that do not need decision making at any stage and move towards data driven processes that need one or more decision during the process. The cost and complexity also increases when the automation move from doing to thinking to learning. Intelligent automation is a combination of robotic process automation and artificial intelligence technologies, which together empower rapid end to end business process automation and accelerate digital transformation. So, RPA is automation of steps performed by hand of a human user, and augmenting it with AI brings head work. So, handwork is RPA and head work is AI. So this head work means that learning and decision making capabilities. When AI is integrated with RPA, it allows the automation process to begin much faster, create an automation continuum. A, a completely autonomous process would elicit a more cognitive response, transmitting it directly to the RPA system that would then complete the task. In contrast to traditional automation, which relies on prescriptive instructions and structured data inputs, intelligent automation assists with uh, each step of the automation cycle and then continues to improve over time. The AI cycle begins with process discovery, where AI powered tools automatically observe the work activities people are doing, identify optimal workflows, and propose an automation path. At the automation stage, intelligent automation applies AI to access unstructured information, including human chat, conversations, audio, and video, which is crucial for making end to end automation possible in today's enterprises. Unstructured information represent around 80% of all business data. Machine learning is also used with RPA to identify patterns in the process data and predict future productivity gains and take day-to-day decisions. And then comes natural language processes and chatbots that are also used with RPA to make uh, RPA bots more interactive with customers. So as a result, we get self-adjusting end-to-end automations for a business process. Now let's see uh, different approaches to scale up an automation enterprise wide. The first approach is go wide and shallow across different insurance or different processes in your organizations, such as like if you're an insurance company or a banking industry company, there can be different areas of work that you can automate. So when following wide and shallow approach, you can identify different processes from different lines of businesses or different departments uh, to be automated. So you will go shallow around different departments and pick up processes for automation. So choosing quick wins is the goal here, and processes that will create greater improvement in customer satisfaction and ROI have the power to create positive image of the program organization wide, which can reduce traction towards the program from human as well as monetary angles. So if you have good words flowing around in your organization about your program, it's easier for you to uh, scale up your program soon. So that's one way of going to different departments and touching them and uh, letting them know about the program and that's the efficiency and the ease it brings, so that it will help you later on. The second approach is go narrow and deep within particular uh, process or department. When going narrow and deep, organizations increase the level of automation within a business process by applying RPA to more steps. So, this strategy can be useful to target a mission critical process for an organization to automate end to end and every aspect of a particular process. So, let's suppose if we choose a specific area and we go further and further within that area deeper to for automation. So for sure we know after some months maybe that this process is totally automated and it's a model process for every other business department to look for. So this can another approach to create an example and penetrate into all the other departments easily, showing the success in one. So it's up to your company's policy uh, which approach you choose to go for. So what are the major objectives of an automation program? One is around people, the second is around the process, and the third is around the technology. So the one in the people's area, we see that we can enhance customer experience. In process area, we see we can have revenue uplifts, and in technology area, we have an advantage, that is data quality and consistency. So likewise, there are different objectives that we generally go for in different areas for this kind of an automation program. So scalability and growth and enhanced work experience are another 2 points for people. Processes, we can see cost optimization and process quality improvement, and in the technology section we can see smart reporting and production monitoring, better monitoring of the application systems. So these can be a few objectives of your automation. But similarly, coming towards the scaling up our focus area, uh, these three are very important even here: people, process, and technology. So when we are talking about people, we are improving the customer experience that will ultimately remove hurdles and tractions in your automation program and make it easier for you to scale up. When we are talking about process, better governance and program management enable multiple teams to work in synergy and in parallel, providing raw material of the processes to the other teams in time. So, and similarly in technology section, like when you choose the right vendor and technology, focus on best practices and the component reusability, uh, and use of AI, ML, and DevOps and chatbots and right tools. This can also help you in scaling up your automation program. So there are three fronts that I identify as major components to look for when we intend to scale up our RPA program. Is to make people happy by improving their customer experience or employee experience, or the way they handle their work. That will help you improve, that will help you scale up uh, early and improve the process, have the impediments removed, make multi-channel teams that can help other teams to work consistently and at the same time in different areas. Like one team is working in identifying the processes, the other is working in documenting them, the third is developing them, and the fourth is providing the support. So something like that that can help different teams work in synergy and have a supply and demand of the process, like when I say supply and demand of the process for automation, uh, supply of processes uh, is one thing, that there are processes coming in the pipeline for automation from different business departments. They are willing to go for it, and uh, the the or in a way you can say it's a demand also. So people are demanding for processes, and vice versa. We can say that supplies of the process development. So keep developing the processes in a pace faster than the demand is coming up, so that demand can increase also. Um, so we have to take measures, make the process efficient enough to have this supply and demand met for the automation. Have the right responsibility matrix so that everyone knows what he has to do and what who has to do, and this will also help in scaling up the process. And then technology, having the right tool identified, and dividing the developed to solution into right components for reusability, and using the right levers to make things easier, and the development easier and faster, will also help you scale up and have more bots developed, more automations developed in shorter time. So the first thing that I was saying, people, when we are talking about people, uh, to ramp up the program, create champions, people who are your advocates, who would say this is the best way to go forward. Automation is the solution to our problems. So create such champions who would advocate for you. And when we talk about process, design a process that will let you work in harmony and in synchrony. Like there are different teams working in their own areas and providing work to the next team, like an assembly line, like you can see here. So majorly there can be 4 different teams here, and this is a sample uh, process identification or role matrix for uh, different teams and different departments that we can make for better governance of the program, that will definitely help in pacing up and scaling up the process for automation. Then coming towards technology, there can be different technology levers that we can use, and using the right lever at the right place will definitely help in pacing up. Now coming up towards a case study about how we worked with a bank to scale up their automation program. This is about a multinational bank with around 15,000 employees across 4 countries, and with 650 retail banking offices in these 4 countries. The challenge that they were facing was that there were different processes for 4 major regions or countries. So they were not identical processes that they were following because of the regulatory issues and the nature of business difference in nature of business in different countries. So manual tasks were there to make systems communicate. So let me reiterate it. The bank was running 4 separate operations in 4 different countries. While systems were similar between regions, each one had slightly different requirements. When processes were implemented, they had to be developed in 4 different ways. Staff had to manage a wide array of manual tasks, um, overstretching their workloads, requiring them to work overtime. This made it difficult for deadlines and service level agreements to be met. And the bank needed to increase efficiencies in both its front and back office operations, and robotic process automation was the way to achieve that. So that's how they identified the challenge and went ahead with us for the automation program revamp. So there were four areas that they identified for automation. You can see this was kind of deep and narrow program, but not focusing on one area of business, but they identified four areas of business. So these were the, in fact, five areas of the business they focused: car loan applications, bank account management, system migration. There was a system that they wanted to migrate from to some new system, and customer service requests, and loan payment management. So four were the actual RPA areas that we wanted to focus, and fifth was a system migration that they could do without RPA, but they thought maybe try RPA, doing it by RPA to have more efficient migration. After an initial pilot in all four countries, the bank changed its course and put one central team in charge of managing the governance and structure of its RPA implementation. This took pressure off individual teams and made new automations easier to execute, and only minor adjustments were needed for each region. The bots could work with the principal system, and factors such as language did not impact how they operated. So you can see here, um, there was a central team that had four segments, or five segments, I should say, and each segment had a team of sub team of sub team that was responsible to identify processes to automate and document them, and the other part of the team was automating, developing the automations based on that documentation or processes. So there were five different teams working in central working group, and they were making the development, or making the automations in a way that it was easy to configure uh, for each regional or each country business that was a bit different, right? So they made their automations easy to customize, or easy to configure in terms of the requirement of change, the change requirement in different countries. So RPA enabled the company to quickly get across on process in its front and back offices. It had been trying to achieve for years, and the initial gains meant employees were able to deliver customer requests on time without needing to work overtime and hours. So there were other four teams, each for a single country, and these teams were responsible of reconfiguration or small customization based on the country's requirement. And there were QA teams testing the developed automation as per the country's specification or need. And in the end, there was a central deployment and support team that was taking care of all the developed parts for the four countries. So that's how they were working in parallel and executing the automation job pretty faster than how they were supposed to do earlier without this kind of a model. So many of the processes automated ensured customer received quick service for all their banking needs. Before RPA processing, car loans were manual tasks, which meant there could be a time lag in showing the correct balance on accounts. After automation, customer could see the updated balance right away, and customer wanting to sell their cars could also now use the bank's website to compare the average prices of three similar vehicles of the same make and model instantly without having to search multiple sources. Any account activity such as closing an account was updated without any delays. And prior to automation, the manual process often resulted in a wait time, and permissions for a deferment on loan payments was completed automatically, and the updated bill was generated and sent to customer with the recalculated payment amount for the term of the loan instantly. So there were a lot of benefits they achieved through having this plan implemented. I will get in more details about the outcome that a big one of RPA use case was a system migration, as we talked about, and where in this system data needed to be converted from one system to another. The projected cost for a vendor to complete the 2-year project was USD 2 million. With automation and bots running 24/7, the migration was completed in just 12 weeks with no additional cost and 100% accuracy. Overall, the bank estimated it has saved more than 30,000 hours in processing time in 2019. With 150 bots currently in production, the increase in manual work and required working hours for staff has resulted in better, faster, and more accurate customer services. Now let's see one small use case about how a bank started tracking and ticketing and escalating ATM incidents. So we all know finance and accounting related use cases that suit RPA, but let's see this IT use case that one client implemented for ATM network incident tracking. Uh, the process was manually done earlier by ATM monitoring and control team. The process consisted of reading requests from IBM's information management system, monitoring status of ATMs in network monitoring system based on the nature of issue and geographical location of the ATM or the faulty device. And a ticket was assigned to the appropriate team. There were multiple teams that could be responsible for any specific issue. Through the tickets were assigned through IMS. Um, in the IMS that I talked about earlier, that is IBM's product, and then email notifications and escalations were also required. So how the bot performs this, it checks the statuses of different ATMs, ATM machines at IMS, and then monitors the status in network management system using connectivity criteria, assigns tickets to the appropriate team, and authorize after monitoring and seeing that if a ticket is confirmed or resolved, it closes the tickets, send notifications appropriately, and also performs escalations based on uh, how long the ticket has been opened or if it has complications. So there are multiple types of statuses that it monitors. This is a table that it keeps, and based on that, it performs different actions. There are different systems the bot interacts with. This is one of the screens of the IMS where it goes and searches for different statuses of ATMs performance, and it checks on different screens if whether the ATM is up or down, on what could be the possible cause of the problem through the NMS, and then raises creates tickets for service and assigns to the appropriate team, and then monitors this ticket, closes it if it is resolved. If it is not, there are different criteria based on which it can escalate the issue. Now let's see, this is a URL you can access if you want to have your RPA process assessed free of cost online. Just by answering a few questions online, you will be able to get a report mailed to you. Um, that is also automated without any human intervention. Based on your answers, it will be able to let you know that how feasible this process is for automation. for which you are providing details, and what sort of savings you can expect in terms of money, in terms of man hours or person hours, I should say, and in terms of effort, how much effort would it take for developers to automate this process and stuff around that. So it's a good handy tool for a preliminary assessment of any process to see how good it is for automation. So here, what we offer from Royal Cyber today, it is a jumpstart package to let our customers start small and see the power and ROI of RPA based automations in just a few weeks. This kind of a jumpstart often helps convincing higher management to go for a full blown automation program. What we do is we pick a single process for automation with the help of our customer and develop an RPA automation for it. There are three phases of such a jumpstart. This can show the potential of RPA and Royal Cyber, as well as it helps customers to see internally what they may need to have an organizational center of excellence for RPA to program within their organization. For the participants, uh, today we have this offer that we can have 30 you can have 30% discount in the form of 2 weeks of complimentary service out of 6 weeks of jumpstart package. You can contact info@royalcyber.com for further details about it. Now let's have questions.